You trying to play factions? That's good, man. That's good. Now, before this video continues, I just quickly want to say that there is an episode 1 of this video right here. So if you have no idea what faction is, and you want to learn how to actually create your very first faction and how to claim and stuff like that, go and watch the video. I will link it down in the description, as this right here is part 2 of that video. Now that you know what faction is all about, it is time to teach you guys how to play on Minecadia. This probably goes out to a lot of other servers as well, so if you are playing on another server, you can follow this video somewhat and still learn a ton of stuff from this video. So don't click away if you're not playing Minecadia, but seriously, you should. Now obviously, we are still on a very basic level of faction, so to teach you guys all about how to play it and explain everything to you about bases and raiding, we have to go back. Far back. Well, not that far back, goddammit! Now, the first thing we should probably talk about is base defending and how to build a perfect base. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you have absolutely no idea what walls is, what region walls is, or anything at all. So let's go ahead and start from the very basic. We have a total of 6 things here in Minecadia that can help make bases. If you watched the first part of this video, you would know all about what chunks is. This right here is called a Chunkbuster, and obviously, as it says in the text right here, if you place it in a chunk, it's gonna mine it entirely out. So let's go ahead and place it right here, and this entire chunk from right here and all the way over to the end is gonna be completely clear of blocks, making it ready for you to build bases. And that's basically what people are doing to make that cactus farm. So if you're gonna take a look at over here, he have probably used Chunkbusters to, yep, as you can see right here, it is perfectly right here. So he have used Chunkbusters to make his cactus farm. Over here we have a base, maybe he have used Chunkbusters for that. Yep, here you go. So he has obviously use Chunkbusters for this as well, as you can see right here, or else I think he will probably have mined a little bit further out, but as you can see, he haven't, so this right here is definitely used by Chunkbusters. So as you can imagine, Chunkbusters is a huge thing. Now, you don't really need Chunkbusters because your first base is most likely not gonna have to have it all the way down to bedrock, but it is a slight advantage to do so, and we're gonna come into that later. Now, the next thing is something called a Detonate Enchant. Now, obviously, that enchant goes on your pickaxe and is used to water walls. Now, there's 2 ways to water walls. Let's imagine that this right here is your walls. Either you can go ahead and go with a bucket and just simply water block after block. Now, what we are essentially going to be doing right now is that we are going to be making a platform where water can spread on. Now, that way, if you have like 50 walls and you want to water them at once, you can do that. All you got to do is just do one side full of water and then one more side full of water. And then if you do the water in the corner right here, it's going to spread towards out all of them. And that's basically how you water with a tray pickaxe. So all you really gotta do with the trade pickaxe right now is that you're gonna go ahead and mine the netherrack, and it's gonna mine everything besides the water and the cobblestone, and it's always gonna water all the way down. So as you can see, that's right here is a lot easier by just doing it with simple water buckets one by one until everything is watered. Now let's say that you have accidentally done something that you want to remove. In this case, let's say that you have accidentally gemmed in between the walls. We're gonna come more back to what that is, but what I'm essentially want to show you guys is an enchant called Detonate. Now Detonate removes blocks around you, and it removes most blocks. So let's go ahead and mine right here, and as you can see, it is removing blocks all the way around you. You can use this right here instead of Chunkbusters if you so wish, but I think it's quite important that you know there is something called a Detonate pickaxe. But alright, now that you have heard about Chunkbusters, that pretty much removes an entire chunk of blocks. The trade pickaxe will help you water wall, and the Detonate pickaxe, we also have to talk about 3 different types of buckets. We have the Genbucket, Infinity Bucket, and a Regen bucket. Now, a Genbucket can be obtained by doing /gen, and you can get a Genbucket in your inventory. Simply left click it and it's going to come up with a GUI where you can choose between 5 different things. We're going to take focus on the first 2 right here, which is going to be a normal cobblestone generation, and we're also going to be talking about the horizontal cobblestone generation. Let's go ahead and pick the first one right here, and as you can see, if you're going to do this, it's going to gen all the way down, and that is basically how you make walls and make regions is with this bucket. You do not do it with hand. And the reason you're not doing it with hand is because you allow 20 chunks of walls before your base, but we are gonna get more into that later. All you really need to know is that you can use the Genbuckets to gen in walls, and all you need to know about the horizontal one is that's how you make platforms. So let's go ahead and say that you want to make a platform right here. Then you can make a platform where it doesn't go down, but yeah, well, a platform. Next up, we need to talk about infinity buckets, and if you didn't catch this, that's exactly what I did over here when we started watering it. You do /INF, and that's going to give you a bucket. You left click it, and you can choose between water and lava. In this case, let's go and take a water bucket right here, and every time you place it, it's going to cost you 50 bucks, but you can place as much water as you want. The same goes with the lava. You can place as much lava as you want for simply 50 bucks. And the last bucket type is the regeneration bucket. Now, the regen bucket is going to cost you 10,000 each placement, and the reason it's that expensive is because that when you place it, it makes lava all the way down. So as you can see, I just clicked it once, and now we got lava all the way down. That would be the same as an infinity bucket, where I choose lava and just click on every single block all the way down. This is basically what a regeneration bucket does. And the reason we're using regeneration buckets is because we can make something called regeneration walls. Now, regen walls is something that regenerates back when normal walls don't. So let's just, as a small test site here, make a regeneration wall. And also, if you guys are interested in getting base layouts, I'm gonna go ahead and link you guys to my Discord where I have tons of those. The way you make a regeneration wall is basically make a tube right here while hollowing it out in the middle. So if you do something like this and use a gen bucket to gen it down, you pretty much got yourself a regeneration wall right here. All you really need to do is just use a regen bucket in the top, water around the cobblestone, and now you got a regen wall. And now when we break this cobblestone, it's gonna regenerate back because there's lava all the way down. So if you go ahead and mine this real quick, you can see it's gonna gen back. Am I fast enough to mine this? Okay, yes, I am. So right now, it's gonna regen all of this back because there's lava sources in the middle. But alright, Dexter, what is walls used for, and what is regen walls used for? And to explain that, let's just go ahead and go to a random base that I found in the world. This right here is a faction called Valor. As you can see, this right here is normal walls. Now, normal walls requires a cannon to shoot at one wall before they can get to the next. So as you can see right here, they will have to shoot quite a few times just to get to these single pillars right here. And that's basically what walls is. They are just very time consuming to go through. And these pillars right here is basically the same as walls, but we are not going to really get into that. If you go ahead and go through all the walls right here, you're gonna see their first regions. This right here is called filters, and there's many types of region walls that I think you just go ahead and play with and figure out which one works. This right here is really good because it requires you to backstack them to get rid of the lava, but that's a little bit too complicated, and maybe we should go into this when we talk about raiding. One last thing I want to mention before I leave this base though is these two walls right here. This right here is called check walls, and what a check wall is basically a wall all the way out in the front of your buffer that makes sure that you can see if you're getting cannoned. And since this right here is sand, it's gonna fall down if the blocks underneath it is broken. All you have to do is just get a sand wall all the way around your base, and if any of the sand is falling down, well, you're getting shot at. Now, when it comes to raiding, there is quite a lot of stuff that you need to know. And I think the best way to basically explain it is literally tell you all about what this new cannons is. I'm not really gonna go into details because I really don't want to try to make this as confusing as, well, it really is. But first thing first, we need to know what Schematica is, because when you make complicated stuff like this, it is very important to know that there's something called Schematica. Now on Crystal Clan, this is how Schematica look like, and just taking a quick example right here, let's go ahead and take a cannon right here, and this right here is the cannon that we're using right now, and this is basically a blueprint. So what this is basically is right now is just pretty much telling you where everything goes. So this right here is an exact copy of that one, and the way I made this cannon is by following in this right here. There's also something called the printer mode that we're gonna go into when we talk about Schematica as well, which if you do /printer, you go into creative mode. You need to be in your own territory. Let me go, and there you go, perfect. So /printer, now that I'm in creative mode, I can choose any blocks that I want. However, there is some restrictions, so I can't use bedrock and stuff like that, and every time I play something, well, they take it right out of my balance. But obviously that makes me able to actually print this in without doing much, so let's just go ahead and take a quick example of what we can do right over here. So if you go ahead and move the cannon over here and move it down, I can give you guys a little example right here. So this right here is the cannon, don't worry about the traces. So as you can see right here, and all I gotta gotta do is just go into printer mode, enable printer, and it can start printing in the blueprint. And that's literally all you need to know about that, because now we need to talk about cannoning. So the first thing you need to know is what is the power. The power is what makes the shot go to the wall, and it's very extensive right here. So if you look at this barrel, you can see that there is a staircase right here. You can see there is a little hole right here. So this is where the sand comes through, and all the TNT that we need at the wall is gonna hit this staircase right here. And then this right here must be the power, because we're gonna need a TNT to shoot it somewhere as well. Let's just imagine that the red wall right here is TNT. If you go ahead and have a power right here and it's gonna explode, then anything that comes from this over here is gonna land on the staircase. So let's go ahead and place that right there. And if anything lands right there and this one here, it's going to go this way right there. However, Minecraft is coded in a way it doesn't really allow triangles, or what's it called, TNT, to go like triangle, or how do we call it, diagonal. It doesn't really allow it to go diagonal. So what it's basically trying to do right now is at first, it's obviously gonna shoot this one here, so it's gonna calculate the Y first. So this right here is gonna go up as far as it can right now, and here we go. So it's gonna go all the way up to here, and if you look down here, you can see that it has velocity going towards the, like, away from the cannon. So the next thing it's gonna do is that it's actually going to calculate the other direction, which are going to be this way right here. So all the way up here, it's going to calculate this way over here. So now it's gonna go out of the cobwebs and hit something. So let's gonna do that. It's gonna hit right here, and then it's gonna calculate the last direction, which is forward, and there you go. Now that is pretty much short how everything works. Let's go ahead and dig right into it. So first of all, let me go ahead and fix this real quick. Alright, so I'm not really expecting you guys to know all about cannons, but you can find these schematics on my Discord, so go ahead and make sure you check that out. I also got base layouts on the schematic, cannons on schematics, and so much more. But this right here is just a quick rundown what a cannon actually is. All you really need to know is where the power is and where the shot goes, and you're pretty much good to go. I'm not gonna go into details of what everything else is, as this might be very confusing for you. So the first thing we're gonna learn about is a hybrid shot. Now a hybrid shot is where you use sand and TNT and combine it to make something work. Because if you shoot at this wall right now, nothing is really gonna happen because it is watered. So back in the days, there were some really smart people that figured out that you can shoot sand and TNT in the same block, and it is basically considered dry. And that's pretty much what a cannon is all about. We're using sand to stack sand all the way up to where you want the hole, and then we're gonna have a TNT inside of that to make the hole. Now obviously cannons has came a long way since then, and now you can nuke the entire wall and stuff like that, and that's basically what I'm gonna be doing today, mainly because, well, that's what everybody else is doing, and I don't want to accidentally make you think that it's not a thing. So let me go ahead and quickly do a few things right here, because there's a lot of things you can do on this cannon, and I'm not expecting you to figure this out by the way. It's just like, you know, I just really need to show you what people are gonna be using, so you know what to expect, really. But alright, let me go ahead and fire this cannon right here and see if it explodes, because I haven't tried to fire it yet, and obviously it might explode, but here we go. So we should be shooting at the wall right now, and there goes the sand, and as you can see, the TNT was actually inside the sand, and that is how we made this pillar go away. Now the reason we're using pillars and not walls, I'm actually gonna go ahead and show you guys that here in a second. So let me go ahead and fire twice, and now I can show you exactly what I mean. So right now we have gotten rid of all the pillars, and now we are going to do walls. Now the reason we're using pillars is, as you can see right here, if we are going to rate the wall right here, it's going to make it quite wide. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide hole. And if we take the pillars, it's really only 1 wide if you offset the pillars. So if these pillars right here was offset, then you really only had a 1 by 1 hole, and that's what pillars are for. They're just to make sure that you don't remove too many blocks at once when you're firing the cannon. But alright, now that we know what a hybrid shot is, and now that we know what nuking does, it pretty much just removes everything. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about OSRB. So there's something called Regen busting, and what that basically does is that it makes a hole in the region, and then it stacks sand up, so the water is going to flow into the lava. I'm actually going to show you guys that right now. So let me go ahead and quickly do some modifications to the cannon, and yeah, let's see that in action. Alright guys, here we go. So I just fired the cannon, and now you should be able to see what an OSRB is. So it's going to shoot, make a hole, and as you can see right now, because the sand stack is still here, it's going to get the water into the obsidian, or what's it called, the water into the lava, and make obsidian. And now this region right here is really not worth anything. But a quick rundown if you're still confused. What it does is that stacks all the way up, and then it explodes, making a hole in the region, and then it stacks a little bit more sand one more time, so the water can flow into the region. So as you can imagine, this region right here is absolutely horrible, since you can just get through it in in literally no time. What you really want to be looking at is regions something like this. Now, obviously, if you shoot right here, you'll be able to OSRB or Regen bust as I just showed you right here. But let's imagine that you have a ton of pillars in front right here. You're going all the way out 20 chunks long. As you can see, it is quite a difference because you can't OSRB where there's lava. It's literally going to do absolutely nothing. So the only way to get through this region right here is double tapping or OSRB. Now, double tapping is basically you shoot so fast that the cobblestone or the lava can't generate cobblestone, and therefore you're bypassing it. Now, you can only really do that on one region. So if you make multiple of these regions right here, you really have to go through and OSRB this, or else you won't really get anywhere. Hopefully that explained a little bit more about OSRBs. And there's only really one more thing that I would like to explain to you guys. So this right here is obviously the region walls. There's also something called a bypass tunneler that you can use on a cannon. What it pretty much does is that it removes any dry blocks before you shoot. So let's go ahead and say that we're shooting right here. It's gonna go ahead and remove any dry blocks. So let's go ahead and say that maybe we didn't have lava right here. So if if we have like a little dry right here, let's go and see if we can make that dry a little bit. So let's say that we had it like this. So if we had a cannon shooting out here, we could literally go in right here, and before the shot even came in, this right here is gonna get blown away. And then obviously we'll be able to bypass this with a tunnel bypass, and therefore you can go ahead and do that, and then you can double tap the next region, and so on and so on. So it's very complicated, but hopefully this here just helped you just a tiny bit to know what about cannoning is and just kind of get the basics of it. I'm really not trying to go into details here because that could take a very, very long time. But alright, that's all fine and dandy, Dexter, but how do you get TNT? Now, TNT is dropped by creepers, so you need to go ahead and go to the /shop and go into the spawners and go and find yourself some creeper spawners. Now, each creeper drops about 1 TNT, so on this server right here, it doesn't drop gunpowder, or what it does, but it also drops TNT. And I'm pretty sure that covers absolutely everything. Now, once again, and I cannot stress this enough, we just talked about Schematica, and it is really, really powerful. So go ahead and join my Discord, as I got a ton of schematics for cannons, base layouts, and so on and so on. But hopefully you guys understand a little bit more about bases now, and hopefully you guys understand a little bit more about raiding, and hopefully it wasn't too confused. I really tried to explain it in a way that not really confusing. But obviously, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Oh, you haven't joined your daily dose of Dexter? I have no idea what you guys are waiting for. Go ahead and click the bell right now to get a notification every single time that Dexter uploads. Other than that, have an absolutely fabulous day, and I will see you guys next video.